What's going on, guys? Hey, Repeat back with you. It is Saturday night. Back with the eSpark Xfinity Series. Tonight we're visiting the one and only Hotlanta. That's right, Atlanta Motor Speedway in Atlanta, Georgia. Not too shabby. It seems like the forever home for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip race. And this race gonna be phenomenal. Got between 25 and 30 of eSpark's best drivers for their
Oh,
Xfinity series out here. I don't think I just
yeah.
said that, but kind of go along with all this. Of course, my counterpart for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays anymore in NNR got the one and only Rick James, and then of course a stable here inside the eSpark community, the one and only Harvick. Rick James, how are you, sir?
How you doing? A big hello to all the fans out there. Saturday night is all right for racing, and Henry County, Georgia, virtual Henry County, Georgia, is going to play host to tonight's race. The Filter Time eSpark Series is coming to Atlanta. I am so ready for this. Some of the fastest racing you're going to see on the calendar, three wide and possibly even four wide into some corners, and always the fuel mileage race to the end. Let's get going. I'm so ready, man.
Yeah, I'm ready for this as well. Harvick, unfortunately, we don't have anybody to kind of help us out with laps and all that, so we're going to be pretty green here tonight. But I think it's kind of fitting to come to Chase Elliott's hometown track a week or so after he wins the championship. Harvick, how are you, sir?
I am doing great, Pete. I'm really excited for tonight. Glad to be back up in the booth with you guys. This is going to be a great night of racing. 2, 3 wide at times. Not only does this place eat up tires, and we'll talk about that later, but this place is also a heavy draft track in the heat games. There's a lot of draft going on. You'll see a lot of, like I said, 2 and 3 wide racing. I'd even see some guys get on that apron a little bit if you're daring enough.
I don't doubt it. And I've seen during races, if you don't actually block that bottom line when you're coming through the triangle, you can actually lose an entire race or a championship right here. So yeah, this track, while you can get three wide, that bottom line is usually preferred, and the guy that doesn't quite have the setup or doesn't quite have the nerve needed in order to run a steady low line can also oftentimes loop it around. I've actually walked out on this track, Harvick, and I can tell you you're absolutely right. This track is so gritty and so grippy. It can lead to a lot of fun, but it's also led to disaster for others as well. Rick, I know that you were looking up some of the history about this place. A mile and a half, a very very coarse track, reconfigured way back in yesterday. What else you know about the place?
Reconfigured back in 1996. It was what we know Homestead as today, just a 1 mile oval rounded on both ends, and what used to be the backstretch is now the front stretch at Atlanta. In 1992, well before the reconfiguration, notably one Jeff Gordon would make his debut at the end of the 1992 season, the same day that the king of NASCAR, Richard Petty, made his retirement. And I believe that's the same year that Alan Kulwicki was crowned champion. Atlanta serving the season finale for NASCAR for so many years has seen so much celebration and even a bit of mourning in the mid 2000s, celebrating the life of Ricky Hendrick when the Hendrick team came to victory shortly after the tragic plane crash that took that family. So a lot of history, a lot of emotions at this racetrack, and we're just going to add to the chapter.
Yeah, it's getting ready to set off this phenomenal race. It's definitely going to be a good time. Want to say hello to Robbie318 out there in chat. Good to see you, sir, as well as the ever popular Rock NASCAR. Rock, good to see you, sir. Hope you're well. Man, I don't know if y'all follow the Heat community page that Rock has on Facebook, but he's recently shared some old high school pictures with the rest of the community. Rock, I got to tell you, back in the day, you were a bit of a stud. I don't know, but Harvick. So with Atlanta Motor Speedway coming to be, it's the third race so far. In the first couple races, Chicago and Martinsville, we've had two different winners. Is there anybody that's kind of standing out for you tonight?
Well, I mean, there's going to be a couple people. Obviously, you have your Asylumses and your Warburtons, the guys that have been here since season one. I would throw Oreo on that page as well. He was pretty quick here last season. But the thing that's going to be hard to predict about this race, if it doesn't go like last season did, last season we had numerous cautions. We did not get a whole lot of green flag racing in. So from that perspective, I won't. I'm not going to take it away from anyone. I will say this is one of the tracks. Actually, this is the first track last season where one of the season's rookies at the time took a win, which was Drew, who was driving for Asylums at the time. He is no longer in Asylums' car. He is in a different car for Ward Burton. But a rookie can win here. A veteran is definitely favored to win here. It could be really anybody's race. Like I said, the draft and the tire management is so key. Cautions falling, all these things are going to be crucial. And I believe we just got the invite to start off, boys.
Yep, I just got the invite from Jose95, so I'm getting loaded in right now. And while I'm getting loaded in, I sent you guys the invite. Again, guys, on the bottom you see this the ats for filter time for the eSpark series for myself as well as Rick James as we pan through this huge field. Again, 25 to 30 cars out here on track. Looks like the 12 car of Evil Within. He's going to have that pole with the 69 of Jose 85, switching up the number a little bit to his outside. Rick, we're going green.
We're already racing with Doc Hudson in the 18 in third place, Ward Burton in the 47 in the center, Horatio Kane filling in the third spot on the inside line, Kay Rainey in the 4, the second car on the outside in the Scuttle Tight, number 4 Camaro on the outside. Behind him in that number 60 you have Asylums in the orange and black Mustang, completing this first lap. Evil Within still up ahead in that 12 car.
Harvick, I tell you what, I'm seeing a lot of cars kind of tight and on the outside, or when they're getting into the corner, they're not quite letting up enough. All right, so is this kind of an early thing to where they start off a little tight, hoping that as the run goes on, if they get a long run, that it loosens the car and it comes to it?
That could be part of the reason. Definitely, you don't want to have too loose of a car here because, I mean, tire wear. This place has been called a cheese grater before, and if you looked at the track, Pete, you said you've been on the track. I have been to the track and seen the surface. It does look kind of like a cheese grater. You can see his tires up. That's definitely part of it. I will also say I'm not 100% sure on this, and I think it was one of those things that was going to be decided maybe last minute. We may also be on high draft. If we are indeed on high draft, then these guys are getting much larger runs going into the corners than maybe what they anticipate, and that may also be causing them to carry more speed, which ends up making them lose the nose on the bottom and slide up.
And that's absolutely possible. You know what? I didn't even think to ask in the drivers' meeting earlier. They were having a little bit of an issue acquiring some of the drivers. But Rick, it seems like most of the guys that are carrying the most speed are doing it around the bottom, kind of painting the yellow line, unless, as I said, kind of coming up just a little bit. But I really don't see anybody protecting that bottom line off the bottom as well as through the trial. I mentioned earlier, I've actually seen people lose the NNR Championship in 2 races last season that came up off that bottom and didn't protect the grass line coming through the trial. You seem like you and Harvick and a couple others kind of carry these Xfinity races more often than I do. Is there anybody that you're going to be looking for, or any standouts for you tonight, bud?
So far, no standouts, Pete. I'm surprised that Evil Within has broken out to a lead that's so great without the 22 of I believe that's Horatio Kane in the second position. He hasn't been able to close the gap. But these two Mustangs so far at the front, with Ward Burton sitting in third, Jose in fourth, I'm surprised that they're also single file, Pete. You'd expect the drivers to be on top of each other more. However, it's not a bad thing, considering once we get closer to pit stops, the drivers are going to be much more anxious to pass each other.
Yeah, first through 15th or 16th, they are all single file. Right now, looking on board with the 69 Ream Camaro, or Mustang rather, No, that is a Camaro, rather. With Jose, and looking ahead, looking back, it seems like the first 15 or 16 cars are all single file. You got a little bit of double wide action behind them, but yeah. So if they are running in high draft, you don't see a whole lot of side by side. They might just be biding their time. You'll see what the tire wear is going to be like in the beginning of the race. If it is on high draft, it may throw off the balance of their car just a little bit, or they might force a little bit more wear than they might have had during the week in practice. So we'll have to see how this fares out, or if they feel a little bit more confident as the race goes on. By the way, everybody, thank you very much for those bits, and Rock NASCAR, thank you very much for those 200 bits as well. Definitely appreciate the both of you.
Big shout out to Rock NASCAR, Pete. As always, one of the biggest fans we have in each of our chats. So far in this middle pack right up here, you've got Asylums in this number 60 car, and he's surrounded by a couple others. Crusher in that yellow 00, now coming to the outside. They finally settled into single file, Pete, but now leaving turn 4. They still haven't left each other's breathing space, if you will. They are still nose to tail.
Yeah, still nose to tail. Got one guy a little bit down below, but man, that Jose 95 is losing spot after spot after starting on the outside pole. I don't know if he just hasn't been able to get a gap on the bottom, or if he's just not comfortable in his car. Maybe it's just a little loose, so he's having to run the high line, stay in the gas just a little bit longer. But Jose has definitely lost quite a few since the beginning. I'm going to kind of pan through these drivers, see if any of them are streaming to help us out with a lap count. I believe somebody said that Fluffy was, but I can't be 100% sure right now.
Yes, I believe he was. I will also add too, Pete, going back to what you talked about earlier, with the tire wear things, something I believe this stage, when I was talking to guys earlier, most guys were saying it was probably going to be about 19 laps, which is just a little bit longer than fuel. Fuel is going to be anywhere from about 16 to 18 laps. So the other reason you might be seeing these guys running a single file line like this is not only to save their tires, because obviously that's very important, but also to save maybe some fuel. I'll say that's a big stretch though, because the tire wear here is so great. It's one of those things, a lot of guys can't even go a full fuel run on tires. They're pitting early, 13 laps in, 15 laps in. But that is a possibility. I've heard some guys talk about they might be able to do it. We have some contact, and your leader's involved.
Yeah, Rick, you talked about Doc Hudson just a little bit ago. I saw him come on down pit road, and just it looks like in the pursuing lap, there was quite a bit of contact by people trying to slow down, but not quite able to hold that bottom line. So that earlier tightness that I talked about earlier, that might have come into play, and what resulted in now this caution.
Pete, it looks like they just kept winding it tighter and tighter until eventually the tension gave and there was no more room. Turn 4 is going to be a hot spot for these drivers, especially as the tires begin to wear. Less grip, the drivers will skate around up turn 4, up turn 2 as well. So expect a lot out of the even numbered corners. And as Harvick pointed out, the leader was involved, the 12 of Evil was involved, the 00 of Crusher, the 60 was involved as well. But you see, it looks like the Evil within is now second place.
Yeah, Evil in that 12 car to the outside of the 2. Looks like we've got the 00 that you were talking about earlier with the 60 right behind him. And the 2 looks like he may have actually missed out on a pit. So he's going to pull to the inside and allow everybody to flash on by. So then 00 with the preferred line, he's going to take the lead. Harvick coming off 2.
Yes, sir, and I'll point something out about these guys. We saw the 22 earlier. See the 12 up here, the 00 now. All of these guys are teammates, so they've got something rolling with that setup. I'll just say that. But as you see, they're going to try to get back on the bottom. Evil is probably going to start losing spots if he cannot get back down quickly. You see him, he's already fallen back a little bit. He's now able to get back down, so he's going to hold where he is. But yeah, you don't want to get stuck on that outside.
No, you don't want to get stuck on that outside, although a lot of people going through 1 and 2, going into 1, will go way out in order to get a good launch into the corner, and there's that really, really bad bump which if you don't have your shocks and rebounds just right, your springs, that could send you for a loop. All of a sudden, for a split second, you actually lose control of your car, and then while you're cranking down on the wheel to get into turn one, that could be a recipe for a big old wreck, as it looks like the 12 is going to take sole possession of the lead. A little bit of contestation behind them, a little bit of laggy, a little bit of, looks like we got cautions, guys.
Indeed, Pete, that yellow flag does come out. There was a wreck involving 2 cars headed into the 3rd corner as the laps wind down in this first stage. It's been a good contest so far between a lot of these lead drivers. The 4 of K. Rainey was involved in that wreck, one of the front runners so far, but a lot of drivers have shown patience in this first stage, which has kept it mostly error-free at the front.
Mostly, seems like most of the issues have come a little bit further in the back. The first caution was people trying to get on pit road and not quite able to hold it all the way down. But then again, when you're coming through 3 and 4, you're on that bottom line. Unless your car is free enough to be able to hold it in the middle to higher lane without hitting that wall. And let's face it, that wall comes up pretty quick, just about as quick as we're going back green with the 12 taking it. With the 74 to the outside, Evil Women is going to try to keep this position and try to stay away from everything that's been happening just a little bit further back.
Out of the second corner now, Brodozer sitting in the 2nd position. The 22 car of Horatio Kane sits in 3rd. Now to the inside is that 54 Toyota Supra being driven by Oreo. He takes the 3rd position with the 60 of Asylums behind him. Horatio Kane would assume 5th position, but the 90 car has now taken his place. Drew LMAO in that number 90 Chevrolet. 69 now coming behind him, Pete.
Yep,
and there's caution.
Yeah, big old caution. I think that was the 7 that plugged the wall coming through the middle of the tri-oval and collected just about the entire back half of the field. Some were able to, show some great track awareness, able to get around them, were able to split the cars as they were sliding all along the front stretch. But yeah, here they are, slowed up one more time. We'll have to see if this is going to be the norm for the night, or if these guys are going to be able to stretch it out, get leaned out, and get a little bit of separation behind them. As the 22 and the 90, they're probably going to be pretty close, pretty close to each other on the restart. But that 12 should be able to maintain the pace car. No, he's actually got leapfrog. It's going to be the 69, Jose 95.
Jose leading, we're coming to the line. That's 69. Reem Camaro now to the front. Ward Burton in 2nd place. Evil within 3rd. Brodozer 4th. K. Rainey rounds out the top 5 into the 1st corner. Harvick, that 69 car, now starting to pull away out of the 2nd corner, but with the first stage winding down, he's got plenty of competition behind him.
Oh, he will, and I'm going to guess too. He's probably looked like he got the restart gear and that thing, so good for him. We'll see if he can hold on to it though, because I'm going to guess the reason that those 2 drivers got up onto the front row is the fact that they stayed out under the last caution. They're at a bit of a tire deficit. Probably not too big of one, as we had a string of cautions there. I'm sure they've been down pit road. But that still could come into play here if they cannot hold on. We'll have to see how they do though. This being one lane, it looks like right now, they might be able to do it pretty well.
Well, here comes that 47 in with Word Burton behind the wheel. 69 to Jose 95, stuck up high again. Here comes the 12 car of Evil within. So right now, a battle for 1st through 3rd, and they're gonna bring up the rest of the pack if they can't try to get that separation that they were able to get just a little bit ago. But Rick, I would imagine now with a couple cautions under their belt and that stage break coming pretty soon, they've got to be pretty happy with what they've got. And also some of the guys further in the back that might have been missing just a little something, they might have been able to dial this thing in just right. We might be in for one hell of a race from here on out.
Pete, so far it's been a plethora of cars at the front challenging for the lead. Evil within in the number 12 NASCAR Heat Mustang now to the inside of the 47 Camaro with the 54 now pushing that 12 down the backstretch, and it's a drag race for the lead into 3. New leader, Evil within, and that's the kind of racing that we've been seeing all day. Long may it continue all the way to the checkered flag, because I am thrilled seeing so many drivers with a legitimate chance to run away with this lead.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Whoa, see the 4 just get a huge pull off the back end of the 22 of Horatio Kane. I mean, you see, he came from nowhere, as the top line is now the preferred line all the way down the backstretch. 22 is going to file in behind him. They are single file, about 2 or 3 rows back. But still, whoever seems to get stuck on that outside is not able to get on back in. It seems like we're back at a Martinsville or a Dover or somewhere like that, where if you're not on the bottom line, you're just gone.
Well, and that has to do too with, I mean, all these guys running around here on the bottom with that big run we saw out of Rainey. I'm going to guess there's a good chance we're on high draft. We don't have that confirmed, but just based on that big of a run, I'm going to guess we're probably on high draft, meaning that draft here is so much more important. If you're not in it, it's going to be like a Daytona or Talladega effect. You know, heard the old sucker hole term. Well, that's truly what that is. You don't have any draft help, you're going backwards. And also Jose too, you know, he's been falling back a little bit. He's also on a little bit older tires. That's probably not helping his case either.
Very true. You know, Rick, it's really interesting watching these cars go, you know, on the straightaway or through the corners, wherever they're going. These cars are bouncing up and down. This track is very, very rough. It almost looks like what we'd see at the Auto Club backstretch, or all around Las Vegas Motor Speedway. These guys have got to be bouncing like crazy, really just about ready to rip the wheels flat out of their hand. JR Big Dog's out there in chat saying, I need some eSpark Truck Series in my life. Let's go. Big Dog, if you are not already part of the eSpark Truck Series, let me know, and if you're absolutely interested in it, buddy, you know that I will certainly vouch for you. We'll get a hold of Fry Dog, and we'll try to make that happen. I definitely believe in your abilities on the track. And Big B Fog 96 saying go Lurkin. So got some fans out there pulling for different drivers. Rick, this track is really rough.
It's incredibly rough, incredibly abrasive, and it's lending itself to great racing, Pete. The 60 of Asylums now to the inside of Oreo in the 54. Oreo, who briefly led this race on the inside for about 100 yards up until the 60 came to his inside. He's holding good on the high side in that 54 Sport Clips Supra, but the 60 car now, with a big push from the 47 and the 22 combined, pulls out and clears the rest of his competition, and the Motorsports Game Mustang is your new leader at the front. Drivers cheering for Lurkin Tom, that driver in the 6 TikTok Mustang out of turn number 2, just losing the draft out of the front pack.
Yes, the 60 of Asylums, he actually turned his first laps in NNR this week. Started off in the Cup Series, did pretty well. I think he had actually said it'd been one of the best races that he had ran, and go figure, they were at Dover, one of the roughest tracks, and he had a hell of a time. So I'm glad to know Asylum's not only out here in the custom setup world, but in the presets as well. And I'm not sure if this caution is due to contact or, gentlemen, this could be our stage break.
Contact, Pete. The 54 Sport Clips Supra of Oreo, just after being in the top 3, had suffered some heavy contact out of 4. He slammed the straightaway wall, and he had been turned around and now is just at a pedestrian crawl under caution out of corner number 2.
And it looks like our early retiree, the 0 of Fatless Dig, he's sitting on pit road. And yeah, there is that 54 Oreo Supra. Very, very banged up. He's definitely going to need to spend a little bit of extra time on pit road to get all that knocked out. Your original pole sitter, the 12 of Evil Within, he's now sitting about P6. So he's going to have a high line restart, but it looks like 22 is going to go ahead and drop back. That's going to allow the 47 of Word Burn to fall right into P2, right behind that 60. And Harvick, we're going back green for 1 and 2, buddy.
Yes, we are. Asylum's showing the way right now. He won the other mile and a half that we went to at the beginning of the season to kick it all off at Chicagoland. So once again, he is showing his way. He's showing his muscle here, and I wouldn't be surprised if he stays here. We'll see if he can hold it. We've talked about all day about if you can get somebody up and out of line, they're going to fall back and be able to take that spot. It's kind of like a restrictor plate track, you know. Get him out of line, get him out of the draft, you can take that spot. We'll see. I will also point out, I think it's safe to say, I know we don't have the lap count information, but I think it's safe to say we are in stage 2. One of those cautions at some point has probably put us over. Stage 1 was not extremely long, so I think it is safe to say we are in stage 2 now.
Well, there you go. Looks like another retiree, the 44, Case Sideways. He's also sitting on pit road, looking for that 8 car. I just saw him move one of the guys, right up and out of the group. A little bit of contact there. A little bit further in the back, another guy I didn't know ran Xfinity for eSpark as well. Old Cheese, Cheeseburger, 2081, rocking out this 20 Super. He's a little bit further back in the pack. Definitely look for some big things out of him. Know he's very, very fast on presets. Not so sure about the custom setup world, but I guess we'll have to see how his nights progress. But either way, good luck there, Cheese. All right, the 8 car is looking at earlier was actually the 8 of Fluffy. So Fluffy right now sitting P3. He's got 74 all over his back bumper. 8 car is hugging that bottom line as much as he can, but he's got a hungry pack riding right behind him.
P8 car of Fluffy sitting in the 3rd position. He's just ahead of the 47 of Brodozer coming out of the 2nd corner. Jose in the 69 behind him. They're going to get a good draft as those cars just bounce up and down on the bumps of Atlanta, headed into that 3rd corner. Mustang in the middle, Camaro, Mustang, Camaro, your top 3, and so far you've got 4 Camaros in the top 5. Asylum's flying the flag for Ford in the 2nd position, and it's the same story as the first, Pete. Single file on the low line with these Xfinity cars.
Yeah, single file all the way down. If they're going through the corners, they're right on the yellow line or as close to it as possible. If they're on the straightaway, the backstretch rather, they're very, very up close to the wall. So doing their thing and trying to maintain this very fast pace. I'm going to guess, Harvick, that you were right, and they are running on high draft. It really don't seem like it doesn't really seem like they're getting a whole lot of separation between the cars. I think we've only seen one car be able to get up and pull away from the pack just a little bit. Other than that, it's all been nose to tail all the way around this mile-and-a-half track.
Yes, sir, it has. And I'll tell you what to do. And like I said, and I'll go back to it as well, I do believe we are on high draft. And I also think, I don't know how close as I look and see a lap car, the leaders are catching it. Don't think it'll be a problem though, as there's plenty of room to move. But, these boys might be saving fuel a little bit. I talked about it earlier. If we're in stage 2, I don't know if it's the case, but I can tell you the stage was supposed to be about 17 laps, which is right about where the fuel window was. I even heard some guys earlier this week, just talking to them when they were working on setup and things, say they might be able to save a little bit of fuel and stretch it. I don't think that's going to be the case for everybody. We've talked about tires. A lot of guys couldn't even go all the way on a fuel run on their tires. But for some guys, it could be the case. We'll have to see if it continues like this, though.
Well, Rick, I tell you what, everybody here in this single file, almost all the way back now, very, very little side by side. This is just a conveyor belt of thousands and thousands of horsepower. More than a cape, good to see you out there in chat, buddy. Man, I got to tell you, I was glad to finally be able to give away that Chase Elliott diecast that we've been, pushing for morethanacap.org for so long. And man, that was one hell of a show. It's good to have you in the booth, Rick. I'm glad that you were able to be there for that finale. And man, those guys definitely put on one hell of a show at Dover. Meanwhile, all around here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's I think you're 100% right there, Harvick. I think there's definitely some fuel saving going on. I did catch up with a few guys that said during some late practice they were trying some different gears to see just how far they could go. Maybe even try to cut out one whole pit stop in the final stage of this race. For those out there that just joining, want to know how it's going or what you may have missed, couple cautions early, not too bad. Right now, probably right about the middle of stage 3. Unfortunately, we don't have a lap counter, so we're not 100% sure. But some pretty good racing when it has been green. Rick still doing a phenomenal job.
Incredible job at the front, Pete. It's incredibly impressive what these leaders are doing. That 8 car so far now at the front. Fluffy in that Poppy Bank Camaro up front with Word Burton in the 47. Right behind him, Jose filling in third. 3 Camaros in the top 3. Horatio Kane in the 4th position in that number 22 ride. Asylum's behind him. And then you've got the 90, the 12, and the 00. So we're starting to see a little bit of action here. You see Jose now on the low line while Asylum's starting to explore that high line. And this could be the moment where tire wear affects how the drivers go around. And there's the 69 who just went for a fun spill through the 4th corner, and tires wearing. And look at all the drivers now coming down pit road expecting either a yellow flag or maybe just trying to take advantage. Almost a little bit of contact there, but that was a pretty wild ride there, Harvick.
It was, and we've talked about Jose all day. I'm thinking that car might be a little bit too loose. Pete talked about shocks and rebounds earlier, among other things, that you can adjust on these things with custom setups. But I think, you see more cars go down pit road this time. One of two things either happened. Could be a combination. I think he was just on old tires, maybe tried to get on pit road, blew a tire, sent him around. Could also have been he just got too loose. We've seen him struggle with that a lot of the day over these bumps. So, multitude of things that could have gotten him in trouble there, but needless to say, he's probably not too happy right now. He had a pretty fast car, and he's now going to have to fight back or get a caution.
Rick, you are a generous gentleman, sir. Definitely appreciate you. Panda Girl, good to see you out there in chat. Definitely hope you're doing well. I actually had a front row seat to all that right there, and looks like it was going to be the 00 Crusher. Could not quite get it locked down, trying to come on down pit road. Pushed one or two in and ended up going into the inside wall himself. And luckily enough, he, instead of going on down pit road, he stayed out. So he didn't wind up going a lap down. But here we go, back green. Rick, going to be the 22, the 12, the 74, the 47, and the 90 as your top 5. Going through 1 and 2, 74 is going to be the odd man out on the high side. 22 has the field in his rear view.
Horatio Kane leading this race, Evil Within in 2nd place. Word Burton in the 3rd position, and then you've got 2 wide for a couple of rows behind them. It's starting to get antsy. 3 wide in the 3rd corner. Look at this, almost 4 wide. 4 cars within half a tenth of each other out of the 4th corner. Cautions breed cautions, and the rabbits are out on the racetrack. Pete, there goes the 60 of Asylums.
60 hit hard into the inside wall. That grass was not going to slow down that car at all. But it looks like because it was just a 1-car wreck, we are going to stay green. No audibles called out. It looked like he was all by himself. I don't know if he got contacted, but there, yet again, riding up on that high side is going to be that 69 Camaro, Jose 95. I don't know if these cautions are just not playing into his favor, if he's trying a long-run strategy, or if that Camaro is just not tuned right for this track.
We'll have to see who's tuned correctly, as there's still 3 wide headed into the 3rd corner, and the storm is just a brewing. Heavy contact there. That's looked the 69 of Jose, who's just been put into the outside wall in 3, now just bouncing off the wall out of 4, and the 16 goes into the wall out of the 4th corner, Pete. That's the car that's being piloted by ENEA Hydra, who just lost 4 spots down the front stretch. He and Jose have now been left by their lonesomes at the back of this pack. Meanwhile, the storm is starting to spread to the front. Drivers 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, now 2 wide, all fighting for position. Horatio Kane, Harvick, is still your leader.
He is, and I want to touch on Horatio for a minute, actually, and a couple others as well if we have time. But Horatio, he's had an interesting eSpark career. Last season, did not get drafted. Then there was a falling out with a team and one of its drivers. Ultimately, Horatio got the call when that driver was released to pick up that ride. It wasn't the greatest situation with that team. There was some internal issues with it. But he ran, he got experience. Now he's moved into a full-time role this season. He was picked up in the draft. And there's a lot of people, I'll say too, I think within at least the eSpark community that really do like Horatio, have a lot of respect for him. And he's showing his worth here today. He's running out front. He's been up on the top 5 most of the day. Like I said, his whole team, even within who we've seen run very quick and lead the majority of this race, also has been up here in the top 4 and 5 all day. So there is something under the hood of those cars that they've got worked out for that team here at Atlanta, and it is paying off. Horatio leads the way. I personally am glad to see it. Just after the rough road he's been through the last season and a half or so, good to see him out front.
Well, Rick, this money lion Ford Mustang looks pretty hungry for all that clean air, doing everything that he's got to do in order to try to stay up front. He's got the 54 as well as that 18 Monster Energy Supra sitting right behind as they continue now to get spread out all single file, much like what we've seen every time this field has gone into a green flag look. It really seems like when they start coming down pit road is where they're getting collected. I know you've seen in NNR as well, some of these tracks that are a bit troublesome on the bottom when it comes to pitting, they'll actually say you got to pull down on the apron in order to come down pit road. These guys are pitting right out of the main line, not on that apron. So hopefully they can learn from what they've been doing and maybe call it out a little bit earlier, saying, hey, I'm pitting, to allow the guy second, third, or fourth on back to go up and move their line just a little bit higher so they don't keep collecting each other under these green flag pit stops. I'd like to see them get through one.
I would also like to get through a green flag pit stop situation because the speeding penalties are always a factor on this racetrack because they're peeling off from the road. Already 2 cars around on the front stretch. We'll see if it's a manual or a race caution, and the cars are slowing down now. It's going to be a game caution indeed. The 68 was involved, and it looked like the 61 of Glickson may have also been involved. I'm not sure. Yep, the 61 looks like if he was also involved with that one, and the 68 of Trippy Tricks. Earlier, the 90 of Drew LMAO went for a spin, so this just might answer our question, Pete. The curse of the commentator will come here and send these drivers down pit road under the yellow flag.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I imagine they've been out for a little bit. Everybody's going to go on down pit road. Harvick, you talked about how rough this track is on tires, so we'll have to see. Actually leads at the moment of caution. The 54 and the 22 of Horatio Kane were side by side. Pop Bear, thank you very much for coming out, and I definitely appreciate those 100 bits. ENEA Conman pissed off that he missed the race tonight. And again, Panda Girl, like I said before, great to see you out there in chat as well. Here we go, Rick, back on the green, 22:47. I think that answered my question, who our leader is going to be.
Horatio Kane in the Money Lion Mustang out in front. The Sport Clips Supra of Oreo in second, and now Evil Within in the NASCAR Heat Mustang moves into third. Word Burton in the Trump Pence Camaro in fourth on the outside now, and that 20 now into the top 5 for what is the first time, I believe, today. Cheese 2081 now on the outside, and there's a big wreck out of 4 cars through the air. The 7 of Dohar takes into the Georgia sky, and not sweet like a Georgia peach. He gets T-boned by the 4 of K. Rainey, and he is well done like a steak, and caution comes out in Hampton.
I tell you what, I really like that paint scheme that Dohar is running. I don't want to say many weeks ago, but several weeks ago, I gave away a die cast, and the paint scheme that Dohar is running from Dale Jr.'s, uh, when Dale Jr. first started Chance 2 Motorsports, that was the very first paint scheme that they ran. They called it the Dirty Mo Posse car. The crossbar, it has DMP. I've actually got diecast sitting right here in front of me, and this was the car that Allgaier ran as a tribute to Dale Jr. I believe at Darlington. Looks pretty good next to this 12-car Viva within.
It looks amazing out there, Harvick. That car takes me back. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made that such a famous paint scheme in what I believe only saw just 1 or 2 races. A great part of history, that car.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in right there. You're absolutely right. The next car was the Gossamer car. The Gossamer car was actually peeling back part of the hood on that scheme, showing the Chance 2 logo underneath the rest of it. So you're 100% right, man. Good memory. I tell you, Rick, you got it all under lock and key right there.
There's just something special about bringing a special piece of paint to a race car, Pete. Something to commemorate the event. It's why I love the throwback weekend. It's why I love how in the late 90s we would have special paint schemes for literally one race, whether it was the Winston or the Southern 500 that year, the Coke 600 that year. But there was always something just special, something magical about having a different paint scheme, and you always want that car to go to victory lane just so you can get a close look on this special twist on a car's weekly paint scheme. It really is part of the charm of racing.
Absolutely. Sorry, Harvick, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go right ahead, please.
But I was gonna. I mean, I agree with you. I am a huge history person. Seeing these throwbacks, I'm 100% with you guys both. I love the throwback weekend. It's like opening a time capsule. You see so many unique paint schemes, throwing back to so many different things, and they all have a story behind them. And that Justin Allgaier car that Dohar's running tonight is one of those stories, and it's a unique one. Junior Motorsports, a staple in the Xfinity Series. That team has been championship winning caliber multiple times. Justin Allgaier was in the championship this year. Didn't get it, but he was close. So that team has a rich history within the Xfinity Series. And I think one day, personally, they'll probably be in the Cup Series as well. We'll have to see if that happens. But, piece of history, never hurts to see it. Love it.
I couldn't agree with you more. And each time that Dale Jr. has been asked, Dale, why don't you have a Cup car? He said it's just been way too expensive. Kind of out of his league. And with him doing the whole commentating thing, I don't know how much NBC pays. I would imagine it'd be pretty good, but with everything he's got going on at the shop, and man, I just don't know. But it would be nice to see a Cup car fielded out of Junior Motorsports at some point. That's that's a pretty big price tag though. Tizzy 452 out there. First cheer I've heard for the one and only Fry Dog. So Fry's got his own cheering section out here as well. Definitely wish Fry a whole lot of luck out here. Pretty stacked field.
It is indeed, and I'll say too, Fry hasn't run. He's been really Pete. You know this, Rick. You know this. Last couple seasons of Xfinity, Fry's been the voice that's been behind the scenes for us, helping us with a ton of stuff. Lap counts, you name it, he's probably helped us with it at some point. So it's good to see Fry, take a step back from that, get back in the driver's seat, run some Xfinity races. He's been a big part in building up this series over the last, 6-7 months. Him and Kay Rainey. It's nice to see Fry in the car and running out here. I know he enjoys it, and it's cool to see.
Into the third corner now, Ward Burton leading in car 47, Oreo in the 54 to the inside of the 20 of Cheese, now challenging for the third position from the 22 of Horatio Kane. A car into the wall out of the fourth corner, and drivers trying to get it back together. Horatio Kane losing ground on the outside to the leaders. Everyone still safe and sound through turn one.
Rick, that was some great hands driving, some heads up driving by all those guys as they were really, really free coming off of turn number 4, crossing the entrance to pit road. And yeah, a couple guys went really sideways, but able to hold on to it, and they kept it going. Great adjustments, great hands by those guys. A little bit of pedal work, and yeah, we're keeping it going. But Rick, this is about the point that we get to in the race where we're a little bit more spread out. We're not quite single file like we were earlier when we saw everybody start to come on down pit road, but this is about the time where you start to see some duck below that yellow line down the backstretch, indicating that they're going to be coming down pit road. And every caution we've had, or just about every big caution we've seen, had to do with cars coming down pit road, as a double O completely lost it coming through the tri-oval, spun it out, collected at least one or two, and back under yellow. So, Rick, that commentator's curse, I did it again, brother.
Once again, Pete, it never fails. Week after week, the commentators curse. But one of the parts of racing, man, it's part of the charm. You got to roll with it.
Thing's lethal.
It almost gives you the power. It's just if you want to will something to happen, it absolutely will.
It's like instead of waving your hand in front of the TV, it's like waving the remote in front of the TV. You will have a wreck. Oh, I just lagged out of the lobby. Did anybody else?
Oh, wait a minute.
I think that's the end of the race.
Is that the race, boys?
What?
That is the end
Oh!
of the race.
I didn't even know.
Man, it really sucks without having a lap counter. I'm so sorry, everybody out there in chat. If we had known it was the final lap, we absolutely would have been more on the leader. That is unfortunately a byproduct of what we were. I'm gonna stop right there. But yeah, that is a great example as to why we need the lap counter on the screen as well as a position tracker, because that could have been a much better call for the end of the race. That was so anticlimactic. I'm actually ashamed. Sorry, everybody out there in chat. I normally try to do a whole lot better for you. Just very unfortunate circumstances. My apologies, guys. Wow.
Frustrating indeed, Pete. I echoed those sentiments. Earlier today, we were doing a broadcast for a different racing game, and that racing game has a lap counter that works. Last night there was another racing series that I was featured in. As far as commentary is concerned, that one also had a lap counter. So as far as many of our commentary is concerned, Pete, we're really just restricted to almost forcing one of the drivers to stream and use them for lap count as opposed to just having an appropriate ticker or even just a couple of numbers in the top left hand or right hand corner that would aid with lap count. However, with every update that is announced, we hope to have that fixed sooner rather than later. And if anything, it certainly gives us a lot to look forward to with every update and indeed the next iteration of this franchise.
Yeah, the next on to the next episode, but I just hope that when they come out with the next game on the new console and all that, it is not just if it's not that great, they say, oh well, it's a building year. But I digress. I want to get in here, find out who our top three are, and kind of go through and find out what exactly how, how that end transpired. Again, guys, I apologize. If I had known that was the last lap, I definitely would have been up on the leaders watching the battle for first through third. But Fry Dog, I see you out here or in the booth right now. Who were first through third, please?
Oh, I know Fluffy did a last lap pass there on Ward Burton, and I think Cheese was third. So I'm trying to get Fluffy and Cheese in here for you guys. Ward's already joined. I think he got second. Let's do Cheese and Ward, then Fluffy. If we can get him in here, I'm trying my best, guys. Great job tonight too. Racing was pretty good out there.
Not too shabby. All right, Harvick, do you want to start with the young buck, old Mr. Cheese, as soon as he comes on in? All right, Rick. But if Ward Burton's here, if you want to start with him, go right ahead.
I have cheese for you. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, yep, there he is. All right. Yeah, Cheese. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Cheese, man, looked like you had a pretty good race out there. We saw you up and around top 10, up and down through the field, as I think most everybody was at points tonight. Coming home with a third place finish, how's it feel?
Cheese, you're on mute. You got to undo that button.
You're talking to me?
There you go.
Sir?
There you go.
All right,
All
try take two, Harvick.
Yep. All right, but anyway, yeah. So, Cheese, we saw you, up around the top 10 all day, back and forth through the field. As like I said, I think everybody was the whole race, just the way that race played out. But coming home with a third place finish, how was your car? How was your race? How'd it feel?
The car felt really tight entry, but around it was fine. It's just I got like near stage 1 and 2. I was just stuck in the back because I got into wrecks, and then there's some people that were wobbly, so I couldn't pass. And then third stage, I slithered my way through cautions, got lucky. That's what really got me the finish was the luck. I got lucky. I almost had the shot to win there, but sadly, Fluffy moved me up. But yeah, there was some people. I think it was the 60 car. I wanted to apologize to him because I got sent by someone on the top. But all around, the car was amazing. Great to finish third after starting like 25th.
Well, and I'll ask you too. I know the first two races haven't been quite what you had hoped for, but catching a little bit of luck tonight, kind of I would think compensates for that a little bit. Obviously, it's not a win, but third place finish is good, and especially being a rookie as well. How do you look at that? How do you feel on that point?
At that point, really, when I entered this league, no one really knew my name. I had help by someone to get my name out there. But right now, as a rookie, it's great to finish. Last week I finished sixth, and this week third. So these finishings, they're getting pretty good. And one point I might win one this season.
If you continue to go up in increments of 3, let's see. Next position is 1, so we'll see if you can get it done next week. Great job tonight. Great run. Good third place finish for you. This place seems to be good for rookies. We had a rookie win here last season. Third for you. Great job. Atlanta continues to show for rookies. Rick?
Absolutely, Harvick. I believe next we're going to talk to the one and only Word Burton, driver of the number 74 Camaro tonight. Word, did you have a good time out there today?
You know what? I had an awesome time, Rick. I'm not going to hang my head at all. Tonight, it was fun. I had a lot of fun. There was a couple wrecks here and there, but we were racing tonight. We had an awesome car, something that had victory potential, and I really felt we should have won the race. But you know what? I come home second. I led all the way to the final lap. What can I do? If I get moved out of the way, but I got to give a lot of props to Fluffy first off. I practiced with him for about 2 hours prior to the race, and we just were screaming at each other in a positive way to try to motivate each other and try to get the best we could out of the race car. We were just practicing tire strategies, everything we could, and to be honest, if there was anyone that knew me better going into that final corner, it was him. And he got the best of me. He knew where to beat me, and he had to get me in the entry, and he got me right in the rear bumper. He did it clean as day, just like Stout did last week, and he earned that victory, man. I'll tell you what, give him a lot of credit. There's no one else I can respect more in the field than Fluffy, man. He did one heck of a job, and again, yes, it is disappointing that I came home second, but I'm just so happy to be back here in Xfinity and get another chance tomorrow to race in the November 50, as well as the Cup race to try to seal the deal for the playoffs. So uh, I'm real happy about this result, and we'll go get them next week.
Absolutely, Word. Congratulations. Pete, you are with the number 1.
Well, Fluffy, it's Repeat. You got me, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Fluffy, good to talk to you again. I think the last time I talked to you, you won. So, man, it seems like we had the curse of the commentator during the race. Here we are. Maybe not so much a curse. Congratulations. You just heard Word Burton singing your praises about that last lap pass. Unfortunately, we missed it. But, man, talk us through those final 3 laps. What did you have to do to set up Fluffy to go on and take old P number 1?
Man, I'm telling you right now, man, it wasn't easy. It was very hard to do. I was behind the 20 there. Hell, I was fourth at the time, and it was getting down in the nitty gritty, and I had to make something. And I saw a lane under the 20, and I took it, and then I was behind. I think it was Oreo, and then only had to pass 2 cars there, so try to set up going into one. Oreo kind of went up a little bit, hit the back bumper of the 74, and when that happened, it just gave me a lane under him, and I had the momentum coming off the corner and got under Oreo. And when that happened, I don't know if I touched Oreo. I was trying to make every move that I did clean, so like I didn't just purposely put somebody in the wall because that's just not me. So I timed it right, and when I did, I got under him. And then coming into 3, I knew Ward was going to go to the bottom, and I think he went too shallow in the bottom, and he kind of slid up a little bit, gave me a lane under just a little bit, and caught a nose in there. I think I got into him, and if I did, I apologize. I'm not like that. And kind of washed him up the racetrack a little bit, and I pretty much sealed the deal for us. Right now, man, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy getting by them two. It was it had to take a lot of prayers to get by them because the laps were winding down, and it was crazy.
Well, man, whatever it took, it sounds like you absolutely got it done. So tonight we got 2 veterans and a rookie, absolutely breathing happier and healthier here in the Filter Time eSpark Xfinity Series from Atlanta. Man, congratulations, Fluffy. Definitely going to help you in the overall points. Are you part of that Movember race tomorrow as well?
Yes, sir, I am.
Well, buddy, I definitely wish you a lot of luck. I know there's probably quite a few eSpark drivers in that. I know there's about 6 or 7 NR guys in there as well. So 2 communities that Rick and I are both a pretty decent, part of will represent that race in a very, very big way tomorrow. So both to you and Word, a whole lot of luck. You know that there'll be a lot of people watching to see how you do tomorrow. Rick, unfortunately, again, we missed the final. But any words about tonight's race, sir? Final words. Rick James, you got me, buddy. I guess we might have lost Rick. No big deal. Harvick, how about you, bud? Any final words about what we saw tonight?
Yes, sir. I'll say this. I think this coins Fluffy pretty well in the sense, from the booth to the racetrack, the man can do it all. Been calling races with me first couple weeks of Xfinity this season. He's done a great job. Comes out here and wins. That's cool. Congrats to Fluffy. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck to everyone tomorrow in the Movember thing, the Movember race. That's going to be a fun thing. Cool. Money up on the line. A lot going on tomorrow. But also, as far as the racing tonight, we had a little bit of everything. I don't think we truly got a full round of green flag pit stops in. We would start them, and then the lovely commentator's curse never fails. We'd always get a caution. It felt like right as we were in the middle of those pit stops, but that's understandable. This is one of the hardest pit roads to get on, especially with the worn tires. I mean, this place is truly a cheese grater. Had a lot of racing, had some side-by-side towards the end. I think the biggest takeaway for me would be NASCAR Heat. If you're listening, we need a lap counter bad. I am with Pete and Rick. Disappointing to not be able to get the end of that race and actually realize it. But it was a good finish. I know I was able to. I actually saw the ending. I was watching Word coming to the line, and yeah, good finish. Fluffy got by him last corner, last lap. That's always fun to see. So congrats to Fluffy and great racing to everybody tonight.
Rick James.
And great Thanksgiving as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, yep, at the end of it. Rick James, one more race under our belt together, buddy. It's it's getting to be secondhand anymore, man. Congratulations, great another great broadcast. I mentioned not too long ago one of the newest affiliates here on Twitch doing a great job. Well over 200 followers. You are absolutely going to be one of the best. All you need is that PC and a capture card. And as I put on the record in chat earlier, I think once you get that, you will rival the one and only Frozen Toes. What did you think about the race tonight, sir?
Pete, I had a wonderful time watching the race tonight. I was so impressed by the level of talent that Xfinity eSparks now has to offer, and so much that despite the fact that we didn't have a lap counter that was promised to us when we pre-ordered this game many, many months ago, we were still entertained by the racing itself. However, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, and without going on forever and ever, it's obviously a problem for the community, and it is something that the community has been looking forward to and continues to look forward to. And had we had I don't know how the better way to say that, but if we had that lap counter, we would be able to have given our fans a much more exciting finish, and the finish that everybody deserves to see, fans, drivers, and broadcasters alike. So the community continues to look forward to the promised features that we heard back in summer of 2020.
Couldn't say it any better myself. Well, guys, thank you very much for one more time for coming out, hanging out, chatting it up, keeping us all company. Tizzy, More Than a Cape, Rock NASCAR, Panda Girls, great to see you again. ENEA Conman, Papa Bear. I mean, it goes on and on. Definitely want to thank everybody. Lions Pride Gaming, Quiet 199947. That was rooting on lurking. Sincerely, guys, thank you all very much for coming out. Definitely do appreciate it. Thank you for all the bits, the follows. It's very heartfelt. If I don't catch y'all tomorrow night, I definitely hope y'all will have a great and festive Thanksgiving. Hopefully, we can all beat this COVID crap sooner than later and get back to the track, meet up somewhere. That's all what we like to do. It's all why we're here, because of the love of racing. Y'all have a great night, and yeah, we'll catch you again soon.